Hello everyone, welcome back to my kids and teens series. So we already did the major arcana, we already did cups and wands. So today we're going to move on to swords. Swords is a little more black and white. It's not as like emotional and flighty as wands and cups. So first, let's go ahead and talk about what swords represents. So swords represents intelligence, logic, truth, ambition, conflict, and communication. So I'm pretty sure you guys know what all of those words are, right? Logic is basically making the right decision. So let's say, let me give you an example. You come to, let's say like a stream, and there's a bridge going over the stream. Next to it, there's some rocks in the stream. And your friends say, hey, instead of going over the bridge, let's go across the rocks. And you're like, that seems dangerous. Those rocks could be slippery and you could crack your head open. Logic would say, I'm going to take the bridge. If you guys, I'm warning you guys, it could be really dangerous, but I'm going to take the bridge. Logic, right? Ambition. Let's say that you see someone drawing something and you're like, oh man, that looks so cool. I want to learn how to draw. You're using, that's ambition. Oh, I'm going to start drawing. I'm going to be a really cool artist. And you put all of your extra time into drawing. And then conflict, is fights, and communication is talking. So we're going to start with the Ace of Swords. So I'm going to put that up and you pause it and write down what you think it is. So the Ace of Swords, the aces I said are about new beginnings, new starts, being open. So the Ace of Swords is about a breakthrough. A breakthrough is that aha moment, right? So let's say you, someone tells you to do something and you're looking at it and you're like, I don't know how to do this. Or you could say, oh man, I used to remember how to do this and I don't remember now. And then all of a sudden a thought pops into your head. You're like, oh my God, yes, that's how to do it. And then you're like writing it down, right? Clarity, seeing clearly. It's clarity is, let's say, you're confused about something. Thank you, my love. You're confused about something and suddenly you gain clarity and you're like, oh, okay, I understand now. Okay, clarity in a sharp mind. Being sharp is like smart. It's the same thing as being smart. Okay, so now let's take a look at
almost there at the Christmas.
The Ace of Swords reversed. So the Ace of Swords reversed is about confusion. Okay, it's about brutality and chaos. So brutality is like, if you say something is brutal, that means, ooh, like, that's really like brutality. When you say like something is brutal, it means it's really, really, really bad. That's brutality. And chaos is just craziness, right? It's just insanity. So that's basically the Ace of Swords reversed. So now we're going to move on to the Two of Swords. So I'll put it up and you pause and write down what you think it is. So the the Two of Swords, I keep saying Ace. The Two of Swords is about difficult choices, indecision, and a stalemate. So if you look at the card, you see the woman and she has the two swords like that and a blindfold. That blindfold is not having clarity. It's confusion, okay? Difficult choice. So it's like you have this choice and you have this choice and you cannot choose between the two. To me, the Two of Swords is about having two options and doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. you don't know anything really about each choice. It's just kind of like, you know what, I don't know. I have these two choices and I don't know anything about them. Okay, stalemate. Stalemate just means you're stalling. Okay. So it's basically just about having either a difficult choice or you can't decide. So we're going to look at the Two of Swords reversed. This is the lesser of two evils. Let's say your parents say, okay, Bobby, you can either wash the car or clean your room, and you don't want to do either. And you're like, well, if I clean my room, at least I'm inside and I can turn on my TV and watch TV while I clean my room. So that is the lesser of two evils. It's also about no right choice. You know, if you're given two choices and you're like, well, neither choice is the right choice, but I'm going to choose the one that's the least worst. And then confusion, which is like, right? So that was the Two of Swords. We're going to move on to the Three of Swords. I'm going to put it up and you pause and write down what you think it is. So Three of Swords is about heartbreak, suffering, and grief. So it's really, if you look at it is three swords in a heart, right? Heartbreak. It could be maybe someone stabbed you in the back, someone broke your heart. It's about suffering, it's about grief, so it's a really sad card. Okay, so that one's pretty short. So we're going to move on to the Three of Swords reversed. This is about recovery, forgiveness, and moving on. Okay, which is pretty self-explanatory. If someone hurts you and you say, you know what, I forgive you. I forgive you for that. And saying I forgive you does not mean what they did was okay. It just means when someone does something to you and you don't forgive them, they live in your head rent-free. They exist as a dark cloud over you. Okay, they have power over you. But when you say I forgive you, it kicks them out of your head. It releases that dark cloud. And you're like, you know what? I don't even have to worry about it anymore. Okay? So we're going to move on to the Four of Swords. I'll put it up and you pause and write down what you think it is. So the Four of Swords is about rest, restoration, contemplation, meditation, and dreams. So restoration is basically like, you know how like you're really tired, right? And then you go to sleep and then you wake up in the morning and you feel good. You feel refreshed. That's basically what restoration is. Contemplation is just thinking. When you contemplate about something, you just sit there and you're like, And it's kind of like a really deep, thoughtful process. And you're like just sitting there thinking. Meditation is when you lay down or sit, you can, and you kind of close your eyes and you make your mind really quiet and you just wait for words and pictures to come into your head. And dreams, of course. Your dreams have meaning. So if you can, what I do is I have a journal. And every time I wake up in the morning, I write down what I dreamed about. And then I go on Google and I look up what the meaning was. So now we're going to look at the Four of Swords reversed. Four of Swords reversed is being restless, burnt out, and stressed out. So where the Four of Swords is rest, the Four of Swords reverse is restless. Okay? You can't sit still. Burnout is when you're so exhausted that you can barely keep your eyes open. And then stressed out is, you know, let's say you have a test tomorrow and you haven't studied and you're freaked out. That's what stress is. So now we're going to move on to the Five of Swords. So I'll put that up, you pause and write down what you think it means. So Five of Swords is about unbridled ambition, being sneaky, and winning at all costs. So unbridled ambition is kind of like a bull. Um, oh, I'm trying to think of a good thing. You know how when you go bowling and you bowl and the ball just goes straight through the pins and just knocks them all down? That's kind of what unbridled ambition is. Unbridled ambition is going for something at all costs. You don't care who you step on or who you knock over, you're going to do it. That's unbridled ambition. It's about being sneaky, okay? And winning at all costs, which is the same. You will do anything it takes to win, okay? Lie, cheat, steal, be sneaky, trick people. It doesn't matter, all right? So now we're going to look at the 5 of Swords reversed, and this has a double meaning. It could mean resentment, and we talked about resentment before, okay? A desire to reconcile. So reconcile means to like mend a friendship or fix a friendship or relationship. And then forgiveness, which we talked about. So now we're going to move on to the 6 of Swords. So I'll put it up, you pause and write down what you think it is. So the 6 of Swords is about transition, leaving things behind and moving on. So if you look at the card, there's a guy in a boat with his swords and his wife and his kid, and they're leaving something, right? It's about transition, kind of like when you move and you start at a new school. That's a transition, right? Or when you go from middle school to high school, that's a transition, a change, basically. Leaving things behind, okay? And moving on from something. That's basically what the 6 of Swords is. The 6 of Swords reversed is about emotional damage. Unresolved issues and resisting change, okay? Unresolved issues. Let's say you are friends with, Johnny, and Johnny stole your bike, and eventually Johnny's dad brought your bike back, but you're still mad at Johnny even though you got your bike back. That's unresolved issues, okay? And emotional damage, someone really hurts your feelings. I was waiting for you to do that. It's someone hurts your feelings really bad. It could be I'm just going to say someone who hurts your feelings really bad and makes you cry. That's emotional damage. So now we're going to move on to the 7 of Swords. So I'll put that up and you pause and write down what you think it is. So the 7 of Swords, we have this, it represents deception, trickery, and strategy. So deception is just lying. Okay, trickery is being sneaky. Strategy is kind of the same as being sneaky. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the 7 of Swords reversed. This is about coming clean, rethinking your approach, and coming clean and rethinking your approach. Coming clean is basically if you lie and then later you said, I'm sorry, I lied, this is the truth. Rethinking is like, let's say, remember we were talking about the creek and the rocks and the bridge. It's like you choose to go across the rocks with your friends, and before you go across the rocks, you stop and you're like, you know what? I kind of changed my mind. I don't think this is very safe, so I think I'm going to go over to the bridge. It's changing your mind. Okay. So now we're going to look at the 8 of Swords. I'll put that up and you pause and write down what you think it is. So the 8 of Swords is about imprisonment, entrapment, and self-victimization. I always say the 8 of Swords is being willfully ignorant. And what that means is, if you look at the card, there's a woman with a blindfold and she has 8 swords around her, but there's a way out, right? But because she has a blindfold on, she can't see the way out. It's purposefully blinding yourself to the way out. So this is about imprisonment, entrapment. This is self-imposed. Okay? You are unwilling to see a way out of your situation. There's a way out if you look, but you refuse to look. It's kind of, I call it defeatist behavior. Like, let's say your parents tell you, oh, we're going to go to Disneyland, right? And
I went to Disneyland.
And last minute they're like, oh, we can't go to Disneyland because of this and that. And you're like, oh my God, we're not going to Disneyland. I'm never going to go to Disneyland. It's never going to happen. I'm going to die without ever having to go to Disney. That's what I'm talking about.
I went to roller coasters.
It's kind of that willful ignorance. Of course, it's like, that's like kind of silly because it's like, I'll have other chances to go. But it's that mindset where you're like, I will never ever have a chance to go ever in my life. This is a lot of times it's like, this is gonna ruin my life. Probably not gonna ruin your life, right? So now we're gonna look at the Eight of Swords reverse. This is about self-acceptance. Like I said, oh, we're not gonna go to Disneyland. Oh, well, you know what? That's okay, because I'm sure we'll have other opportunities to go. This is about a new perspective. So a new perspective is like looking at things instead of saying, why are we going to Disneyland? This is going to ruin my life. Instead of saying, looking at it from your parents' point of view, talking to them and saying, how come we can't go? Like, is something wrong? Can I help? You know, that's a new perspective. And freedom. Freeing yourself from that situation, that self-imposed entrapment. Okay, that self-imposed trap that you put yourself in. It's finding a way out of that trap. So now we're going to move on to the Nine of Swords. So I'll put it up and you pause and write down what you think it is. So we have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is about anxiety, hopelessness, trauma, and sleepless nights.
I'm hungry.
Okay. So the Nine of Swords is anxiety. So I'm sure you guys know what anxiety is. Hopeless. Remember I was talking about the Disneyland thing? Oh my gosh, I'll never go to Disneyland again. That's hopeless. Trauma. Trauma is when you get hurt, whether it's physical, emotional, verbal, or mental. All of that is referred to as trauma. And sleepless nights, when you're so anxious and worried that you cannot sleep. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Nine of Swords reverse. This is about hope, reaching out in despair. So that has a double meaning. So reaching out is you're having anxiety, you're having worry. So you reach out to someone and to talk to them, okay, to help you with that. And then we have despair, which is kind of the same thing as being hopeless. Okay, so some of these cards, when they're reversed, they can have double meanings depending on the reading that you're doing. And after I'm done with this series of tarot cards, I'm going to do some sample readings for you guys so you can see how the cards work together. Or what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start shuffling, and when two cards come out, I will show them to you and show you how they work together. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Ten of Swords. So I'll put it up, you pause and write down what you think it is. So Ten of Swords refers to failure, collapse, defeat, betrayal. Yeah, it's really pretty self-explanatory. It just means you failed or someone betrayed you. Let's say you told a friend a secret and you told them, don't tell anyone, this is a secret between you and me, and they go and they tell everybody. It's betrayal. So now the Ten of Swords reversed, it represents it cannot get worse, only upwards, inevitable end. So it can't get any worse. So it's like, this is it. It can't get any worse than this. Okay? Only upwards. So Ten of Swords is rock bottom. Things can only get better. Okay? Things, and inevitable end is about, you know, let's say something is inevitable. Like, let's say you do something and you get in trouble, and you know you're going to get in trouble because you know your parents are going to find out. That's what it is. It's like, well, you know, it's inevitable that I'm going to get punished. I'm going to get grounded or whatever. That's the inevitable end. To me, the 10 of Swords reversed is also about getting, I don't want to say vengeance, but I guess vengeance, justice for the betrayal. Okay. So now we're moving on to the Page of Swords. So I'll put it up and you go ahead and write down what you think. So the Page of Swords, this is curiosity, restlessness, and mental energy. So curiosity, you know what curiosity is, right? I know you guys know what that is. So if you don't know what curiosity is, it's like, let's say there's an abandoned house and you're like, I wonder what's in that house. And you go over there and you look in, you look around and see what's in there. That's curiosity. You're curious about what's in there. You wonder what's in there. Restlessness is when you can't sit still. Like me, you probably see me shaking. It's because my legs are going like this. I can't, that's me. When I'm sitting in a chair, I can't keep my legs still. My legs are always moving. And mental energy. This is like positive mental energy. Like, this is a type of mental energy that gives you your ambition, and that, you know, let's say you have to clean your room. Like, the Page of Swords would be like, all right, you know, I'm going to start in this spot, and then I do this, and then I do that, and that's mental energy. Now we're going to look at the Page of Swords reversed. Page of Swords reversed is deception, manipulation, and all talk. So deception. So we talked about deception, right? It's lying. Manipulation is basically, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say your friend brings cookies for lunch, right? And you're like, oh, can I have a cookie? And they're like, oh, well, no, I was planning to eat all this. And you're like, really? I thought you were my friend and you can't even share one cookie with me? Like, I guess you're not my friend then, because you're not sharing your cookies with me. That's manipulation. Okay? All talk. This is all talk, no action. Okay? Let's say you are wanting to build a tree house. Okay? Or your dad says, hey, Bobby, let's go build a tree house. And you're like, okay, are we going to do it today? Oh, no, we're going to wait till the weekend when I'm not working. Okay, and then the weekend comes and you're like, Dad, are we going to build our treehouse today? And then he's like, oh, no, sorry, buddy. This came up and this came up. That's all talk, no action. Okay? Now we're going to move on to the Knight of Swords. So I'll put that up and you pause and write down what you think it is. So Knight of Swords, this is about action, being impulsive, and defending your beliefs. I always say that the Knight of Swords is one of the fastest cards in the deck. Because if you look at the Knight of Swords, the horse is like running, right? Action. So you know what action is: movement. Impulsive is doing something without thinking about it first. So let's go back to the creek with the rocks. Impulsive would be just to hop across the rocks without thinking about the repercussions, what could happen if, let's say, the rocks were slippery. You could fall in the water, you could hit your head, you could get hurt, right? And then it's about defending your beliefs. Let's say you believe in UFOs and you're like, oh yeah, I believe in UFOs, and someone's like, UFOs are fake, there's no such thing as UFOs. And you're like, you know what, I believe in UFOs, I see the videos, I believe in aliens. It's standing up for what you believe in, basically. Now we're going to look at the Knight of Swords reversed. This is about no direction, disregard for consequences, and unpredictability. So no direction. Let's say you are like, when I grow up, I want to be a famous artist. And people ask you, well, how are you going to do that? And you're like, I don't know. I'm just going to be a famous artist. No direction. Disregard for consequences. Again, with the creek, hopping across the rocks, it's the same as being impulsive. Doing something, it's kind of like the Five of Swords, winning at all costs. You don't care about the consequences. You're going to do it anyway. Okay? And unpredictability. Unpredictability is basically when something's unpredictable. An unpredictable means, like, let's say if you know somebody who 1 minute they're really happy and the next minute they're angry, and you have something to tell them and you're like, I don't know, I want to tell them this, but I don't know if they're going to be happy or angry. They're so unpredictable. I can't predict what their mood is going to be. That's unpredictability. So now we're moving on to the Queen of Swords. I'm going to put it up and you guys pause and write down what you think it is. So the Queen of Swords, this is about complexity, perceptiveness, and clear-mindedness. Those are kind of big words. Complexity means something that is I wanted to say it means that something that is complex. That is, let's say you get a pizza. A simple pizza would be cheese. A complex pizza would be like a supreme pizza with sausage and pepperoni and peppers and onions and this and that. That would be complex. Okay, we have perceptiveness. Perceptive is being observant. Okay, seeing what's around you. Like being perceptive is walking down the street with your friend and you notice a man in a van just sitting there staring at you. But your friend didn't notice, but you notice it. And you tell your friend, hey, that man in the van looks really sus. Let's turn down this street, or let's go up to this house and pretend that we live here because he might be like a kidnapper or something. That's being perceptive. And then clear-mindedness, clarity, seeing things clearly. Okay. So now let's go on to Queen of Swords reversed. Cold-hearted, cruel, bitterness. Cold-hearted is someone who, if you've seen A Christmas Carol, Scrooge is cold-hearted. The Grinch in the beginning of the movie, cold-hearted. Shrek in the beginning, cold-hearted. Cruel, same. For all three, same. Bitter. When you're bitter, let's say you have a friend and your friend and this person is your best friend, right? And you've known them for like ever since you were a little kid. And a new boy or girl, it comes to your school and your best friend makes really good friends with them, and it makes you kind of jealous, and you're like telling your best friend, I don't like them. There's something, I don't know. I just don't like them. You shouldn't be friends. That's being bitter. Now we're going to move into the last card of the swords suit, and that is the King of Swords. So I'll put up the King of Swords and you write down what you think it means. Okay, King of Swords is head over heart, discipline, and truth. So the King of Swords thinks more with their brain than they do their heart. So let's say your sister or brother really wants to get a dog, but you live in a small apartment and there's no yard. The King of Swords would say, well, yes, it would be nice to have a dog, but we have no space for the dog. Where is he going to run? We're going to have to get up early in the morning and walk him and pick up his poops and all of that stuff. That's using your head over your heart, because your heart would say, yay, dog, right? Discipline is, let's say your teacher says, okay, students, we're going to have a big test in 2 weeks. So discipline would be saying, okay, I have a test in 2 weeks. I'm going to have all of my papers. I'm going to get all of the books I need, and I'm going to start studying. But I'm going to study for an hour after school every day for this test. Discipline. Truth. Truth is very self-explanatory, right? Telling the truth. Because Swords is about truth and clarity. And now, finally, we have the King of Wands. Swords, reversed. It's about manipulation, cruelty, and weakness. So we discussed manipulation, right? About making somebody feel bad so you can get your way. Cruelty, Shrek, Scrooge, the Grinch. Weakness. Weakness, to me, weakness is, you remember I was talking about discipline, about knowing you have a test in 2 weeks and sitting down and dedicating an hour a day after school to your test. Weakness would be like, I don't want to study for this test. It's not going to matter anyway because I'm just going to fail. I'm not good at this subject. That's weak. It's lack of inner strength. It's a weakness. It's just giving in, throwing in the towel, right? So that was the suit of Swords. Next week, I would say next week, early next week, I'm going to do Pentacles, and that's going to be all the suits, all the cards in the tarot deck. And then once I'm finished with Pentacles, we're going to do some exercises, some readings, so I can show you how these cards work together. I'm also going to throw in some of my message cards to show you how it all ties together. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel, like this video. I really love doing these. These are really fun for me. And I'm a natural teacher, so it's really easy for me and I enjoy doing it. So all of my information is down below. If you're curious as to what I offer, have a beautiful day, have a beautiful week, month, life, year. Remember to spread love, joy, compassion, gratitude, kindness, peace, and enlightenment. And I will see you next time.